Hi there, everybody. It is Professor Malat with another weekly overview. This week is week 4. We are in February. The weeks are zooming by. At least it seems that way to me. Anyway, this week we are focusing on the rough draft of the first longer essay, the personal career narrative essay, What Matters Most to You When Choosing a Major or Career. So we have been doing all of these mini assignments that kind of worked their way to this longer assignment. I want to take a little look at last week. Last week we had well, let's look at the informal assignment. Last week in week 3, we had a pre-writing exercise, what matters in a major or career. So I've opened it up to either a major or a career. If you are on a career path, if you are pretty set in what you are trying to do, many of you are slightly older students, maybe returning after working in the workforce for quite some time. So maybe you already have a pretty solid idea of where you want to go. For those of you who might be younger, this might be your first time in college and you're not quite sure what you want to major in. I did open up this assignment so that you could explore a potential major if you're not sure what you want to do in college. So we had that pre-writing assignment in week 3 where you either thought about a major, some of the things that interest you, job opportunities, transferability, that kind of thing. Or you could think about the different aspects of a career, those things that might be important for you. So that was the pre-writing assignment. And now this week we have the rough draft. And this is my things for you look different in your student view. This is just my personal view, how I have it organized for all of my teacher stuff. So we have the personal narrative rough draft. It is due Sunday, February 9th. Again, this is a rough draft, so I don't want you to freak out about it. You'll have an opportunity for peer review as well as having a final revision that will be due the following week. So the purpose of this assignment, and I'm just reading the assignment here, is to help you reflect on and articulate the factors that are most important to you when choosing a major or choosing a career. So it's kind of a personal narrative, but it's also kind of an exploratory essay, which is why you'll see some resources on the exploration essay as well as narrative writing. But this is really more of you giving a personal insight to the choices that you're making, whether it's your major or whether it's your career. So understanding what matters most to you in choosing a major or a career path will not only help you to make informed decisions, but it will also enhance your self-awareness and ability to communicate your goals and values effectively. And by doing this kind of an assignment, it kind of transfers over into the working world, right? You are clear about what you want, and these are all things that you get asked about when you sit for a job interview. Those of you with a little bit more life experience have probably gone through that. You know, you get the question, tell me about yourself. Why do you want this job, right? So knowing your why, right? Knowing what matters the most to you, these things can really help you when you get to that next step, right? When you are at the job interview or you're trying to find a job, maybe trying to switch careers, it's really good to have that kind of clarity. So the skills of this assignment, not only are you analyzing, reflecting on your personal experiences and things that have contributed to that, but you're also synthesizing by integrating insights from some of the things that we've read in class, as well as your own reflections, the discussions that you've had, those kinds of things. Writing, of course, is key. It is a writing class, so you're going to be crafting coherent and engaging personal narrative. And of course, revising is a huge part of the writing process, right? We improve our writing when we have peer feedback and are able to self-edit as well. So here is some advice, some suggestions for how you can go about writing the essay. Even though we've kind of been exploring the pros and cons of the 5-paragraph essay, why it works, why it might not work, I am suggesting that for this essay, I think a 5-paragraph format. an introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion will be sufficient to get you through this essay. So I have some suggestions here with your introduction. Of course, you want to begin by engaging your reader's attention. We call that the hook. So you can start in any number of interesting ways. Provide some background on the topic. So whether you're writing about your major or whether you're writing about your career, why it's important to you, and then you end your introduction with some sort of the thesis statement that outlines the main points you will discuss in your essay. You don't have to do that. Narrative writing is a little bit different. Narrative writing doesn't always have a really clear thesis. It might be a little bit more nebulous, but in your introduction, your reader should be aware of what the main idea of your essay is. Then we would go to the body paragraph. So you want to discuss personal experiences, values, and interests that influence your decision-making process when choosing a major or career. So start telling that story, right? We watched the video from Andrew Stanton, and he started with a very intriguing introduction, and then he gets into the nuts and bolts of his story, why he's doing the things that he's doing, right? Why that field interests him so much, why he is so interested in storytelling through the medium of film, right, or animated film. So get into the story, right? It's good for your readers to know what your personal experiences are, what you want from life, that kind of thing. Reflect on how those factors align with things that maybe you've read in class or things that you've discussed in the discussion boards. Second paragraph, analyze the impact of external influences, such as family, friends, mentors, and societal expectations of your choices. So if you are an older adult, maybe you have had some experiences that have made an impact on you, right? Maybe you have had a difficult time since COVID. I know COVID changed a lot of things for many of us, especially career-wise. So maybe you're switching gears, maybe you're changing careers, maybe you need to make more money because there's something that has happened in your life that has spurred you to switch gears a little bit. So that is also something that can be very relevant. Paragraph 3, you also want to consider the practical aspects of choosing your particular major or career, things like job prospects, financial stability, work-life balance, and reflect on how these considerations shape your thinking and decision-making. And then the conclusion, of course, summarize the key points that you've already discussed, reflect on what you've learned about yourself and your priorities through this process, and end with a thoughtful conclusion that leaves a lasting impression on the reader. For formatting the essay, I want you to try to get it to be 3 to 4 pages long, or 800 to 1,000 words. When I say 3 to 4 pages long, that, of course, means that it's double spaced with 1-inch margins, but the word count is really a lot easier to go by. 12-point font, such as Times New Roman, you know the whole drill with MLA formatting by now. And I'll be taking a look at these various criteria as I read your essay. So 30% of your essay, or you'll receive 30%, if your essay demonstrates thoughtful reflection on personal and external influences. Of course, I'm also looking for clarity and coherence. So your essay should be well organized and easy to read. Using examples is another important part. So supporting your points with examples from articles read in class or your own personal experiences. Of course, paying attention to MLA format and grammar and style. So it's really vital that you submit your rough draft on time. I try to be flexible with assignments and late submissions, but when a draft is tied to a following peer review with only a couple of days in between, because this is an online class, I can't give you additional time for the amount of work that we need to do and cover in the 14 weeks that we're together. So it's really important that you get your draft in on time, because you will then have a peer review assigned to you. On Monday morning, those peer reviews will be assigned automatically to people who submitted a draft on Sunday night. If you wait until Monday afternoon, then you're going to need to contact me, say, hey, I submitted my draft late. Is there any possibility of getting a peer review assigned to me? So peer review really depends on people getting the work in at the time that it's supposed to be submitted. So I cannot stress this enough. In order to participate in peer review, you have to submit a draft. Your draft might be incomplete. It doesn't have to be the full 800 to 1,000 words. If you're struggling to get to that length requirement, at least something. If you can get it at least halfway done, at least we have something for which we can provide feedback. And by we, I mean your peer reviewer as well as me. So it's really important that you submit your draft by the due date above, which is Sunday, 11:59 p.m., Sunday, February 9th. Students who fail to submit their drafts cannot participate or receive credit for peer review. So I cannot stress it enough. So while it may seem insignificant that it's only worth 10 points, the fact that if you don't get it in on time and you don't get that peer review paper assigned to you in a timely manner, you're missing out on more than just 10 points, right? You're missing out on feedback as well as how you can improve. So we have a rubric down here. Again, it's a little bit more detailed with the various areas. And this will be this similar rubric will be used for the final revision. So hopefully it's clear to you how you should go about doing this personal narrative, reflecting on either your major or your career, the things that matter most to you when choosing such things. Again, I want you to think about some of those things, some of the articles that you have read for class. If anything kind of screamed out at you, like, oh yes, anything that resonated with you, it would be perfectly fine to incorporate some of those ideas and reflect on them. And yeah, so if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Let's just take a look at the overview here to see if I'm missing on anything else. There are some readings that you're not required to read them, but I put them there. Shitty First Drafts is a really great read. It's a quick read by Anne Lamott from her book Bird by Bird. I really like the sense of maybe anxiety for those of us who often struggle with writer's block, right? Or being able to turn off the inner editor that tells us every time we try to set out to write that things are no good or it's not good enough and why am I even bothering, right? So this is a very good read. It's only 2 pages, I think. So it's a quick read. The other ones here, again, if you feel like you need extra information, you're more than welcome to read them. I don't know how helpful they'll be for you. There are also 2 videos from Scribber, one about how to write a strong thesis statement. Again, that might not apply very well to this narrative assignment, but also how to write an eye-catching introduction. I do have some optional ones as well if you need to wrap your head around narrative writing a little bit more. I have my video, What is Narrative, which I recorded for a previous class. Plus, I also have the reminders for formatting in Microsoft Word and Google Docs. And I cannot stress enough, if you are having any kind of difficulty with any part of the writing process, coming up with ideas, creating paragraphs, mechanics, so on and so forth, you can schedule time to work with our embedded writing tutor, or you can schedule a virtual visit through UC Learning Commons or the Academic Writing Center. And it doesn't even have to be a virtual thing. If you want to send what you've already started with, so like your really rough draft before you submit your rough draft to me, if you would like someone to look over some of your things and maybe provide you with some guidance, the writing tutor would be the perfect person to send that information to. Cheyenne Riley and Don Peteroy, those are the two people at Claremont who are willing to work with students in this class. So you can just shoot them an email, and the information is here in one of the most recent announcements from Cheyenne, telling you that Don and Cheyenne are reaching out to remind you that they're designated tutors. They're willing to support you. There is a scheduling link here, and if you just want to send through email, you can send an email to Cheyenne at this link, or you can send to Dawn. Either one of them are more than happy to assist you through the writing process. So it's really fantastic that we have them both available to help with writing. So again, I can't stress this enough. It's a free service to you, so it would be silly not to take advantage of it if you feel like you need some extra help. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me and I will help you as best as I can. Have a great week, everybody. Take care, and I look forward to reading your drafts. Bye-bye.